Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com. Today I'm doing a Copic speed coloring video for you using Kraftin Kimmie Stamps Deck the Halls. We're going to ink this stamp up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink and then stamp it down onto Copic Express It blending card. That's my favorite blending card. There's lots of others that people use. This is what I started with and I know how it works for me and I can get it to blend how I want, so it's kind of what I go to all the time. I'm using the easiest skin tone that I reach for all the time when I really don't want to think about what colors I'm going to put together, and that's E00, E00, E21, E11, and E04. So I go in with my E04 to add in my dark spots. I do a wash of the lightest color, and that's just to get the ink started on the paper and have the paper be wet. I just find that, in my mind, I think that it allows me to blend better. It might not. It's just the way I've always done it. So we're going to go in and add in all of our darker shadows, and then you'll see I come in with my E21, which was actually a mistake. I usually go in with my E11 next, so I jump back and it gets 2 coats of E21. It still works out in the end and looks absolutely great. This image from Kraftin Kimmie Stamps is actually one of her rubber stamps, and her stamp manufacturer has actually not going to be manufacturing rubber stamps anymore. So she's started producing clear photopolymer stamps. They're fantastic. I'll put a link in the description box below to my review of her new clear stamps. As for the rubber stamps, once they're gone, they're gone. So I'll put a link below to this image, and if I figure out how to do it, we'll put an annotation up in the corner so that you can find it and maybe check out any of her other rubber stamps that you might like before they're gone. So we're just carrying on with the skin. You can see there's where I did the E21, and then I jumped back to the E11 because I was like, whoops. Kind of mucked that up. So you can make mistakes with your coloring, especially with stuff like this when you go to the lighter color. I mean, if I was to put E04 out too far, it would be really hard to get that to blend out and get the light skin tone that I wanted for the elf. But because I went to skip to a lighter color than I was supposed to use, it really was no big deal and it didn't muck with anything. At the end of this image, actually, once I get all of it colored with the Copics, I come back in with my Polychromos and just put light layers of certain colors just to adjust the tint, add some depth, get it to look exactly like I want it to. And I just find that my Polychromos pencils layer over top of my Copics better than my Prismas do. I prefer the oil-based pencils to the wax-based, although I haven't tried anything like the Luminance. I just have a couple of the pencils and stuff, and apparently their wax bloom and everything isn't supposed to be as significant as it is with the Prismacolors, but until I get my hands on a few more, I really don't know. So I went with an odd combination for my G's. I went with G28, G07, G24, and YG13, I do believe. We'll see when it comes up here, but I just found it gave me that Christmas tone that I want, and there'll be a link below to my blog because I'll have the finished card up when this goes live, but it really went with the green and the paper that I chose to use with this one, which was also something different. I don't normally choose paper when I'm coloring. I usually decide after, but the paper pads were beside me because they came with this order because I ordered them from Kraftin Kimmie. Love that store. Kimmie's awesome. So we're just coloring in his shorts and suspenders and the patch on his hat and his boots with the green. I kept it very, very simple in the color front. There's only 2 colors for his clothing. It was a very basic color palette for me instead of using 500 colors like I tend to do. With my R's, I used R89 as my darkest, and then I jumped to an R29. I just find that R29 isn't dark enough to give me the shadows. It blends out very nice with the R27 and R24 that I use as well. But I just needed that. I always find that I need that darker shadow. I just like that contrast in there. So the R89 works and blends out great with them. This video is at 4 times regular speed, so it's not super fast, but it's not real slow either. And as per anything, you can stop, rewind, go back, all that kind of fun stuff. So I was a little intimidated with this image just because of the Christmas lights wrapping around him and everything. So coloring all of those spots without coloring the wrong thing, and I psych myself out all the time. But it's actually a very easy image to color. I was very surprised with how simple it was to just color the spots that I wanted to be those certain colors. Now we're on to his hair, and this is where my light gets all funny, and I'm sorry about that. I had started filming during the day, and then I had to run out and do a bunch of stuff, and I came back and it was night, and I turned on my light, and everything was great, except usually when I turn on my light, I have to tilt my image so that it's on an angle so that it's not reflecting the light directly back up, which makes it look all, instead of being bright and vibrant like it actually is, it looks really dull. You'll see where I tip it up, the color gets better, but that's what happens when you start filming at day and finish when it's dark outside. I initially was just going to use those two colors in the cord, the E33 and the E35, I do believe it was. And then I decided that the cord wasn't dark enough, so I come back in with an E37, and there it is. And then the lights, see, that's where you can tell the color's getting better. I tilted the image a little bit so that it's not reflecting the light straight back up at the camera. So I went with YR24, Y17, and I think I went straight to Y11 after that. And then I colored outside of the lights. And I did that on purpose just to kind of give it that little bit of a glow. Yeah, this is where I grabbed the Y11. I was going to use Y13. But I'm outside of the lines, and that's just to give it that little bit of a glow effect. You can't really tell on here, but you can see it in person. I really like it. And then we're going to come in and do the grounding. I used E71, E70, and the zero marker, the colors blender, just to blend it out. So I'm just putting shadow under everywhere where he's sitting. Anything that looks like it would be touching the ground or casting a shadow on the ground kind of got a little bit of color. Then I just blend it out all with my zero marker just to push it into the background and make it disappear just a little bit. Then we're going to come in with the Polychromos pencils, and I have this set of 124. So we're going to start with our burnt umber, and I'm going around again all of the dark highlights. And I mean, to lots of people it would be a waste of time and whatever. I enjoy doing it because I've already got all the color in the base there, so I don't need to put 3 or 4 layers and burnish it all out just to get it to look exactly the way I want. And I don't have to be afraid that I'm going in with a real dark brown in the skin tone, but I can still get my shadow. I just personally enjoy doing it from time to time. I don't do it on all of my images by any means, and I do color images with nothing but pencil. I just like adding the little bit extra detail, and I'm going to color over everything with pencils. So once we finish with that one, we come in, it's with the Beastry, or I can't pronounce that properly, but I come around and I'm just slowly taking all of the lines out a little bit further, blending them together into the Copic's background, or into the Copics that I already put down, so now they're kind of laying in the background is what I should say. And just continue around. Not a lot of pressure. I'm not making sure that everything's solid. There's a little bit of pencil lines in it. I don't mind that. The cinnamon, I added just a little bit to his cheeks just for a little bit of color. Then the light flesh, and finally we're going to go over it with the ivory, and that'll finish off his skin, and then we'll move on to the green. I wanted to add more to the green, especially because I found that it wasn't vibrant enough for me. The shadows weren't nearly as dark as I wanted them to be, and I'll bump that up quite a bit with the pencils, just with a light coat of the pencils over top, and I don't have to worry about getting, like I said, that waxy film on top of my Copics because these are oil-based pencils and it's soybean oil. So we start with the chrome oxide olive, I do believe it is. You can pause it to see it. I didn't hold them up long enough. I'll know better for next time. So, and that's just going to slowly bump up all of our shadows. As you blend the pencils out, they don't blend out like Copics do. The dark colors don't tend to get lighter. So I think I sharpened it there. The other thing I really enjoy about these pencils is that they hold their point a lot longer because they are a way harder lead than your wax-based pencils are. They stay sharp longer, which works great for these little images because I can get into that detail. So permanent green olive is our second color. And again, I'm just going to keep going over, slowly blending everything out just a little bit further. Then we use the May green. Now we're starting to brightening it up. I found that it wasn't as bright of a green as I wanted when I finished before. So going in with this color, and then I go in with a yellow green, and it really just kind of jumps it up. So this is the cadmium yellow lemon or lime or something like that, but it just brightens up his pants quite a bit, which is what I wanted. I wanted a bright green. I didn't want that dull sort of color to it. Then with the reds, Go in with this violet one first, and this is kind of going over top of that R89. Again, that's that whole, I want that deep contrast in my shadows without having to use the black on this image. And I do that a lot too. I go in with black pencil or just a dark brown, and that's all I'll use through the whole thing. So we're just following around exactly what I did before, and we're going to carry on. Part of why I wanted to do the reds was I didn't like the way that 24 seemed so much lighter in the center, like on the hat and all of that. But I didn't want to do another coat with the markers. I wanted to play with my pencils is basically what it comes down to. So finishing up our red. Sorry, I kind of went out of frame there. Then I just add the yellow. This is all I do to the yellow, and I just kind of blend it into the rest. I'm outside of the lines. It's that little bit of glow. And then we use one of the warm gray markers. I think it's the number 3. I go in and muck around with the base, and that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed this coloring, and pop over to my blog to see the finished card, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye.